Section 24 of Greatheart by Ethel M. Dell. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 24. The Lights of a City. "May I come in?" said Sir Eustace. He stood in the doorway, a gigantic figure to Dina's unaccustomed eyes, and looked in upon her with a careless smile on his handsome face. "Oh, please do," she said. She was lying on a couch under a purple rug belonging to Isabel. Very fragile and weak she looked, but her face was flushed and eager, her eyes alight with welcome. She thought he had never looked so splendid, so godlike, as at that moment. She wanted to hold out both her arms to him, and be borne upward to Olympus in his embrace. He came forward with his easy carriage, and stood beside her. His smile was one of kindly indulgence. He looked down at her as he might have looked upon an infant. An uneasy sense of her own insignificance went through Dina. She could not remember that he had ever regarded her thus before. A faint throb of resentment also pulsed through her. His attitude was so suggestive of the mere casual acquaintance. Surely he had not forgotten. "Won't you sit down?" she asked, in a small voice that was quite unconsciously formal. He seated himself in the chair that had been placed at her side. "So they have left you behind to be mended, have they?" he said. "I hope it is a satisfactory process, is it?" She had meant to give him her hand, but as he did not seem to expect it, she refrained from doing so. A great longing to cover her face and burst into tears took possession of her. She resisted it frantically, with all her strength. "Oh, yes, I am getting better, thank you," she said, in a voice that quivered in spite of her. "I am afraid I have been a great nuisance to everybody. I am sure the Devines thought so, and I expect you do too." She could not keep the tears from springing to her eyes, strive as she would. He was so different, so different. He might have been a total stranger, sitting there beside her. Yet, as he looked at her, she felt something of the old quick thrill, for the blue eyes regarded her with a slightly warmer interest, as he said, "I can't answer for the Devines, of course, but it doesn't seem to me that either they or I have had much cause for complaint. I shouldn't fret about that, if I were you." She commanded herself with an effort. "I don't. Only, it isn't nice to feel a burden to anyone, is it? You wouldn't like it, would you?" "Oh, I don't know," he said with his easy arrogance. "I think I should expect to be waited on if I were ill. You've had a rather bad time, I'm afraid. But you haven't missed much. The weather has been villainous." "I've missed all the dances," said Dina, stifling a sob. He began to smile. "I wish I had. I haven't enjoyed one of them." That comforted her a little. At least Rose had not scored an unqualified victory. "You've been bored?" she asked. "Horribly bored," said Sir Eustace. "There's been no fun for anyone since the weather broke." She gathered her courage in both hands. "And so you're going home?" she said, and lay in quivering dread of his answer. He did not make one immediately. He seemed to be considering the matter. "There doesn't seem to be much point in staying on," he said finally, "unless things improve." "But they will improve," said Dina quickly. At least they ought to. A fortnight of bad weather isn't particularly encouraging, he remarked. Of course it isn't. It's horrid, she agreed. But every day makes it less likely that it will last much longer. And I expect it's much worse in England, she added. I wonder, said Sir Eustace. There's the hunting, anyway. Oh no, it would freeze directly you got there, she said, with a shaky little laugh. And then you would wish you had stayed here. I could shoot, said Sir Eustace. And there is the hunt ball, isn't there? Said Dina, with more assurance. He looked at her keenly. What hunt ball? She met his eyes with a faint challenge in her own. I heard you were going to stay with the Devines. They always go to the hunt ball every year. Do you go? Asked Sir Eustace. She shook her head. No, I never go anywhere. She saw his eyes soften unexpectedly as he said, Then there isn't much inducement for me to go, is there? Her heart gave a wild throb of half-incredulous delight. She made a small movement of one hand towards him, and quite suddenly she found it grasped in his. He bent to her with a laugh in his eyes. Shall we go on with the game, Daphne? He whispered. Are you well enough? Her eyes answered him. Was he not irresistible? Oh, she whispered. I thought you had forgotten. He glanced round as if to make sure they were alone, and then swiftly bent and kissed her quivering lips. But the past has no claims, he said. Remember, it is a game without consequences. She laughed very happily, clasping his hand. I was afraid it was all over, she said. But it isn't, is it? He laughed too under his breath. I am under the very strictest orders not to excite you, he said, passing the question by. If the doctor were to come and feel your pulse now, there would be serious trouble, and I shouldn't be allowed within a dozen yards of you again for many a long day. What nonsense, murmured Dina. Why, you have done me so much good that I feel almost well. She squeezed his hand with all the strength she could muster. Don't go away till I'm quite well, she begged him wistfully. We must have one more dance. His eyes kindled suddenly with that fire which she dared not meet. I will grant you that, he said, on condition that you promise, mind you, promise, not to run away afterwards. His intensity embarrassed her. She knew not wherefore. Why should I run away? She faltered. You ran away last time, he said. Oh, that was only because I was afraid the Colonel might be angry with me, she murmured. Oh, well, there is no Colonel to be angry now, he said. It's a promise, then, is it? But for some reason, wholly undefined, she hesitated. She felt as if she could not bring herself thus to cut off her own line of retreat. No, I don't think I can quite promise that, she said after a moment. You won't? He said. His tone warned her to reconsider her decision. I'll tell you tomorrow, she said hastily. I may be gone by tomorrow, he said. She looked up at him with swift daring. Oh, no, you won't, she said with conviction. Or if you are, you'll come back. How do you know that? He demanded, frowning upon her while his eyes still gleamed with that lambent fire that made her half afraid. She dropped her own. There's someone coming, she whispered. It doesn't matter, does it? I do know. Goodbye." She slipped her hand from his with a little secret sense of triumph, for though he had so arrogantly asserted himself, she was conscious of a certain power over him which gave her confidence. She was firmly convinced, in that moment, that he would not go. He rose to leave her as Isabel came softly into the room, and between the brother and sister there flashed a look that was curiously like the crossing of blades. Isabel came straight to Dina's side. "You must settle down now, dear child," she said, in that low musical voice of hers that Dina loved. "It is getting late, and you didn't sleep well last night." Dina smiled and drew the hand that had so often smoothed her pillow to her cheek, but her eyes were upon Eustace, and she caught a parting gleam from his, as with a gesture of farewell he turned away. "I am much better," she said to Isabel later, as she composed herself to rest. "I feel as if I am going to sleep well." Isabel stooped to kiss her. "Sleep is the best medicine in the world," she said. "Do you sleep better now?" Dina asked, detaining her. Isabel hesitated for a second. "Oh yes, I sleep," she said then. "I am able to sleep, now that you are safe, my darling." Dina clung to her. "I can't think what I would do without you," she murmured. "No one was ever so good to me before." Isabel held her closely. "Don't you realize," she said fondly, "that you have been my salvation?" Not really," faltered Dina. "Yes, really." There was a throb of passion in Isabel's voice. "I have been a prisoner for years, but you, little Dina, have set me free. I am travelling forward again now, like the rest of the world." She paused a moment, and her arms clasped Dina more closely still. "I do not think I have very far to go," she said, speaking very softly. "My night has been so long that I think the dawn cannot be far off now. God knows how I am longing for it." "Oh, darling, don't, whispered Dina piteously. "I won't, dearest." Very tenderly Isabel kissed her again. "I didn't mean to distress you. Only I want you to know that you are just all the world to me, the mainspring of what life there is left to me. I shall never forgive myself for leading you away on that terrible Sunday and causing you all this suffering." "Oh, but I should have been home again by now if that hadn't happened," said Dina quickly. "See what I should have missed. I'd far, far rather be ill with you than well at home." "Yours isn't a happy home, sweetheart," Isabel said gently. "Not very," Dina admitted. "But being away makes it seem much worse. I have been so spoilt with you." Isabel smiled. "I only wish I could keep you always, dear child." Dina drew a sharp breath. "Oh, if only you could," she said. Isabel pressed her to her heart and laid her down. "I must get you back to bed, dear," she said. "We have talked too long already." Late that night, Isabel went softly to the door in answer to a low knock, and found Scott on the threshold. She lifted a warning finger. "She is asleep." "That's right," he said quietly. "I only came to say good night to you. Are you going to bed now?" She looked at him with a faint smile in her shadowed eyes. "I dare say I shall go sometime," she said. Then, seeing the concern in his eyes, "Don't worry about me, Stumpy dear. I don't sleep a great deal, you know, but I rest." He took her arm and drew her gently outside the room. "I want you to take care of yourself now that she is safe," he said. "Will you try?" The smile still lingered in her eyes. She bent her stately neck to kiss him. "Oh yes, dear, I shall be all right," she said. "It does me good to have the little one to think of." "I know," he said, "but don't wear yourself out. Remember, you are not strong." "Nothing I can do for her would be too much," she answered with quick feeling. Think what she has done for me." "For all us," said Scott gently. "But all the same, dear, you can spare a little thought for yourself now." He hesitated momentarily, then, "I think Eustace would like to see more of you," he said, speaking with a touch of diffidence. She made a sharp gesture of impatience. "Why did you send him to disturb the child's peace?" "She wanted him," said Scott simply. "Ah." Isabel stood tense for a second. "And he?" she questioned. "He was quite pleased to see her again," said Scott. She grasped his arm suddenly. "Stumpy, don't let him break her heart." He met her look with steadfast eyes. "He shall not do that," he said with inflexible resolution. Her hold became a grip. "Can you prevent it? You know what he is." "Oh yes, I know." Very steadily Scott made answer. "But you needn't be afraid, Isabel. He shall not do that." A measure of relief came into her drawn face. "Thank you, Stumpy," she said. "I was horribly afraid when I saw him just now, and she, poor child, so innocently glad to have him." "You needn't be afraid," he reiterated. "Eustace is too much of a sportsman to amuse himself at the expense of an unsophisticated child like that." Isabel suppressed a shiver. "I don't think he is so scrupulous as you imagine," she said. "We must watch, Stumpy, we must watch." He patted her arm with his quiet smile. "And we mustn't let ourselves get over-anxious," he said. "Now go to bed like a dear girl. You are looking absolutely worn out." Her lips quivered as she smiled back. "At least you are getting better nights," she said. "Yes, I sleep very well," he answered. "I want to know you are doing the same." Her face shone as though reflecting the lights of a city seen from afar. "Oh yes, I sleep," she said, "and sometimes I dream that I have really found the peaks of paradise, but before I reach the summit, I am awake." He drew her to him and kissed her. "It is better that you should wake, dear," he said. She returned his kiss with tenderness, but her eyes were fixed and distant. "Some day the dream will come true, Stumpy," she said softly, "and I shall find him there where he has been waiting for me all these years." "But not yet, Isabel," murmured Scott, and there was pleading in his voice. She looked at him for a moment ere she turned to re-enter the room in which Dina lay. "Not just yet," she answered softly. "Good night, dear, good night." The strange light was still upon her face as she went, and Scott looked after her with a faint, wistful smile about his mouth. As he went to his own room, he passed his hand across his forehead with a gesture of unutterable weariness. End of section 24. Read by Helena Dunstan. June 2022.